Hey everybody, Anthony from Traders Ultimate Edge here. It is January 10th. We'll look at the markets today. Here's the ES, and it had this V bottom today, right off this trend line. And this trend line here, you can see at the bottom of the screen, this is going back to the lows from 30 September. Those three consecutive lows form the trend line, and you can see it come up and hit here, and we just hit there, kind of bounced off of it. Now, if we look here, we've got this area, close on Fed Day. I've talked about this before. That's the closing area right there on December 15. To me, that's an area that we have to get back up above for the fundamental value of it, because that was determined to be, fair market value at the end of the day after the last Fed meeting. So if we can get back up and above there, then I'm definitely looking. I'm definitely looking long again. This morning, it was looking a bit bearish. We were day trading. We were taking some shorts over on the NQ, and then later in the day, we took a SPY long with options, and we got long right here. And we closed it right up here. It had a trailing stop loss, and it closed right up here. Of course, could have gotten more out of it, but that's okay. Nonetheless, that's what we had today in our day trading. So yeah, like I say, we need to get back up above the close from Fed Day. Once we get back above that, then it speaks to me as the market saying, okay, well, now we agree that, not much has changed from Fed Day. I think a lot of it is going to depend on the next 2 days. Tomorrow, we have Powell's confirmation hearing in front of the Senate, and I can virtually guarantee this guy is going to talk about the rates and the Fed and what they're doing to combat inflation, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of it's going to depend on what he says. If he says something to placate the market, or if he says, you know what, forget it, we're gonna take away all the easy money and rip the Band-Aid off and let the chips fall where they may, then we could definitely see more downside. I could absolutely see 4,500. We see something like that, we'll be down here to this 4,500 area guaranteed, if not further. On the other hand, if he comes in and says, not much has really changed since the last Fed meeting, that's still where we're headed, that's still what we're thinking since the statement on the last Fed meeting, then we could see this thing come back up here. We could see this come back up here today tomorrow into the 4,700s. I could definitely see it moving that far. If we get a real sort of bullish statement from from Powell, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I want it back up above this area before I'm really going to lay into longs again. Unless it's just a day trade. Like we had here today, we had a day trade. If we get back up into this area, I'll be looking for more swings, more long swings on SPY to move it back up over to here. So that's what I've got there. Also want to show you SPY V and SPY G today. SPY G growth had a nice bounce off the trend line, came back up, looking like it found its bottom over here. And SPY V, it had come up more kind of towards this trend line, didn't quite make it, came back down. So it fell back down quite a bit today, throughout the day. Let's actually... So it definitely had some buying coming in towards the end of the day in a lot of these value names, but I also think some of this buying here could have just been because they were so oversold. This was rotation back into growth, and this was probably just buying because they were so oversold and the whole market started to get bought up. So I kind of think that's what we're looking at there. Overall, you can see right here, this was the beginning of the market today. You can see that growth got bought over value the entire day on average. Okay, gold coming up a little bit, just interesting to me. And we can look over here. We see the 10-year right here starting to pull back a little bit. It had also pulled back a bit last week and then popped up over the weekend, now starting to come back down to these levels. I think tomorrow We'll talk a lot about the 10-year as well, or we'll possibly create some movement in it. VIX coming back down. Now, also keep in mind, besides tomorrow, on Wednesday, we have the CPI report. And this could be every bit as volatile as tomorrow. CPI reports, the consumer price index, that will tell us how much inflation there actually is. If it's good, we could see a push on the indexes. I kid you not, back to 4,800. Back to 4,800 if that thing comes in good. Because then everybody's going to say, you know what? Inflation's not that big of a deal. The Fed's not going to have to drastically move on things. We could see it come right back up to here. If that happens on Wednesday. Now, I don't think it's going to come in really good. I also don't think it's going to come in really bad. I think it's probably going to come in an estimate. And which, if it does, I think the estimate's already baked into market price, and the real surprise is going to be with what Powell says tomorrow. So I don't think the CPI will have much of an effect. Conversely, if the CPI is very bad, then it doesn't really matter what Powell says tomorrow because she's going down. Because then everybody's worst fears about what the Fed's going to do, will be kind of vindicated, right? Make sure to get this trend line on here too. It follows it really nice right here. It's from the highs, Jan 4, down through here. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the market. Waiting for here to get really long in swings, and waiting till after Powell talks to really even think about a short again. Because now that it's had this big push up off this area, and then right in this, we definitely saw some evidence. Big money stepped in here today. Big money stepped in here. Now this corresponded with some sort of a release by the head. What's his name? There's a head strategist at J.P. Morgan who released something that said, just buy the dip, guys. Which is pretty much what he said. And that was this spike right here, and then the volume kind of continued up over here. This right here, though, if we drop down to like the 1 second, this is going to be kind of a pain in the butt to find. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to look through here and try to find it. It'll be a pain in the butt. But nonetheless, if you drop way down there and you look at these high volume candles, you'll see that these were all the contracts were traded within just a few seconds. So it was clearly, first off, it was algorithms, but secondly, the volume of contracts that were traded, it was big money. So this is where big money stepped in. I messaged my clients. I was sitting here watching the screens while this happened. Said, hey, big money just stepped in to start buying. Let's buy calls. And that's what happened. So nonetheless, that's how I'm viewing the markets right now. Let's see what Powell says tomorrow before we get another bullish or bearish bias going for any sort of longs, for any sort of swing trades. Thanks everybody for listening. Have a good day.